Welcome to CP Newsroom. I'm Nicole Menzi. The person of Jesus has been presented hundreds, perhaps thousands of times on film and TV, in art and in other media. But never has Christianity's central figure been portrayed as a weed-smoking, foul-mouthed black man living in Compton, California. So one might understand why some Christians would be upset. Before it even hit the air, petitions were flying and protests were brewing, all demanding that Aaron McGruder's new live-action comedy series, Black Jesus, be canceled. Some call the show blasphemous, offensive to African Americans, and just all around a bad idea. We're here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where Black Jesus isn't such a big deal. But for some conservative Christians, the new live-action comedy show airing on the Adult Swim block is a cause for controversy.
The first thought that came to my mind is, okay, here again, the world is making fun of God. But then Jesus said that not everybody would accept him. Even though Jesus came to save the world, Jesus did say that not everybody would accept him. And he did also say that people would, use his name in all kinds of ways. It looks like buffoonery.
What is it with that guy?
To be fair, Betty had not actually watched an episode of Black Jesus before she spoke with CP. Her opinion was mostly informed by the mural and by watching a snippet of the trailer. But what about those who have actually watched Black Jesus? What do they think of the controversial comedy series? Colorado pastor and author Eric Canaday seemed to find Black Jesus bittersweet. So you've watched more than the trailer, and maybe some critics haven't even taken that step.
I did.
So what did you think of the premiere episode of Black Jesus?
I think it was ignorant. I think it was wrong, but I do believe that the show was honest. When you think about people's faith in God or religion or even in Jesus Christ, many times Jesus Christ shows up in situations that really aren't ideal. And this Jesus is the type of Jesus that shows up in a place of struggle with some compassion, but with honesty.
But what about the profanity?
And I've been around people or grown up with people who would talk about Jesus 1 second and then use cuss words the next moment.
I want no like that.
And that is just a true reflection of how people process and view Jesus. The show was funny.
For TV and film critic and Boondocks fan Rebecca Theodore Vachon, Black Jesus is actually a flop.
I really had high expectations for Black Jesus, and I understand the controversy, the idea of a Black Jesus living in Compton, smoking weed, drinking 40s. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what Aaron is going to do with it. But I don't know that it's not his best work.
McGruder apparently has lost one fan, but surprisingly might have found another one in the unexpected person of Bill Donahue, president of the activist organization, the Catholic League.
They don't make fun of Jesus. That's an important distinction. Because, I'll be quite honest with you. When we first looked at this, we began to think, oh, is this going to be another one of these trashy Jesuses that's going to be put in our face? Okay, the language and some of the mannerisms are not our cup of tea. On the other hand, his divinity is recognized. What matters to us, though, is the presentation of Jesus. And Jesus does come across, in terms of his own presentation, as being Jesus. He is kind, he's respectful, he asks people to reach out to people. He's very forgiving.
Does it matter that McGruder presents a Jesus that's black?
Well, I always knew Jesus was black.
That's funny, because I didn't know that Jesus was black.
They depict him as Black Jesus, but like in the hood. Like, it's funny. It's like a cool flip. Like, it's not disrespecting anybody.
I think that Jesus was definitely not white, so it's nice to see Jesus not being white in something. That's really refreshing and nice.
For the most part, the image of Jesus has been presented as a Eurocentric, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Right.
And so I think there's definitely that need to see diversity, right? Because I think even biblical scholars will be like, he's not.
Right,
he didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. So I get that, and I think that probably makes it a little bit more accessible for people.
When you take a look at, the Bible never even mentions race. It speaks of tribes, nations, and tongues. But it doesn't talk about black people and white people. The Bible also tells us that out of one blood that God made all mankind. So when you take a look at the issue of race biblically, what you have to come to the conclusion on is that Adam was of the human race, and we are all members of that race, many ethnicities, many colors, and that sort of things, but we're all one human race.
The idea that Jesus has to be white or pale or black or Asian or whatever, that's irrelevant to the Catholic League.
What Donahue does find relevant is the potential of black Jesus to introduce the Christian Savior to an otherwise unreachable demographic.
There is a young male segment, let's face it, that's the target audience. And you're not going to reach them with Jesus' message through the normal channels, through the normal citing of the gospel. Now, it's unfortunate, it's not a good sign in our culture, that you have to debase Jesus' statement and his delivery in order to make him to be sold to this segment of the population.
Despite the controversy, or perhaps because of it, Black Jesus captured more than 2 million viewers with its August 7th premiere episode. It was especially a hit among the 18 to 49-year-old male demographic.
So I can see why guys would like this show. It's definitely a dude bro show.
Right. And Magruder's message to his dude bro audience?
I don't think Aaron McGruder's goal is really to communicate necessarily the gospel, although one of the things that I see in the movie or in the show is that he frequently refers back to integrity, love, and compassion for all mankind.
I guess I'm thinking maybe Aaron is trying to say or make a more accessible Jesus, because I guess we, like to put him on a pedestal, and Jesus was really a man of the people.
While Magruder definitely gets it wrong in some places, Canada thinks Black Jesus gives Christians a unique opportunity, and it's not to complain.
This particular show gives Christians, I think, an opportunity to speak to some of the endearing qualities about Jesus, meaning some of his non-judgment and willingness to meet people where they are.
Donahue agrees somewhat. He thinks Christians should take a closer look at Black Jesus.
I'm not saying I like it, but I'm saying to Christians, take a deeper look at this. Take a look at the whole picture. Take a look at the intended audience. And if young men can get the message of Jesus, maybe they can get it that way now. Maybe when 10 years come by and they get a little older and they start having children, maybe that message will stick with them more than the actual presentation.
And for sensitive viewers who actually want to give Black Jesus a chance and watch at least one full episode?
I don't know that people may be comfortable to do that. So I would never urge someone, if you feel, based on what you saw on the trailer or on the reviews, if that's how you feel, then I respect that, But, I mean, if you do want to give it a try, I'm just warning you. It's not, just be warned that this is not, you know what I mean, the sanitized version of Jesus.
Take a deep breath. You'll grit your teeth at times, but let's also remember, Jesus as the Son of God is being sold to the audience, and I think that's a very important message. And for people to leave that out and just focus on the curse words, I think is missing the big picture.
Any faith, bruh.
They should just lighten up. Like, there's people getting raped and killed out every day. They're just making comedy. It's not really that serious. If you really want to go do something, go save the world, or, do something really positive in your community or something.
Doesn't sound like bad advice. Want to share your take on Black Jesus? Write to us at cpnewsroom@christianpost.com. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.